Hello children, welcome to my video channel Learn with Didas, PGT-Biology, Kendriya Vidyalaya Malda. So today we shall be discussing with you a subtopic under plant kingdom. That subtopic is bryophyte, otherwise what you call as bryophyta. Bryophyta, the plants are basically perfectly not having the separate root, stem and leaf, but they are having root-like or leaf-like or stem-like structure. But the body still, some members of bryophyte are thallus-like, where the leaf is not clearly visible, but the root-like structure called as a rhizoid, which are either unicellular or multicellular present in it. So, let us have a classification of bryophyte. Basically, bryophyte members are divided into three divisions. So, divisions are number 1, liverwort, number 2, hornwort, and number 3, mosses. So the bryophytes are basically divided into three divisions: liverwort, hornwort and moss. In your NCERT textbook, you shall be getting about liverwort and moss, but hornwort has not been mentioned, but I'll give you a brief idea about hornwort also. So, liverwort, I have drawn here the diagram of liverwort. This is the male thallus and female, so this is the female thallus and this is the male thallus, whereas this is the hornwort. Mosses, because of lack of space, I will draw it later. So try to understand the liverwort and hornwort both are having a thallus-like structure, means true leaf, stem and root are not separated distinctly, whereas in the case of mosses you can see very clear leafy structures and very clear stem-like structure. But in all the cases, liverwort, hornwort and mosses, the life cycle is divided into two main phases. What are the two phases? Number 1, gametophytic stage. Gametophytic stage, and number 2, sporophytic stage. Sporophytic stage. The predominant stage in the life cycle of bryophyte is this gametophytic stage, which is by nature haploid, having n number of chromosomes in its body, whereas sporophytic stage is a short-lived stage. This is not predominant and this stage is not free-living. It is living upon the body of the gametophyte as if it's an obligate parasite. Why? Because temporarily it is residing on the body of gametophyte and drawing nutrient from gametophyte. So gametophyte is the photosynthetic haploid body, multicellular body, haploid and photosynthetic in nature. Now, one more difference I will tell you. Liverwort and hornwort and mosses among these three, where in case of hornwort, each cell having a single chloroplast. But in case of liverwort and mosses, you can see multiple number of chloroplasts. Now, let us give you a separate example for each division, where we are discussing about, first of all, liverwort. The liverwort, best example, that figure I have drawn, this is the Markensia. What is it? Markensia. This is the thallus body of a female Markensia. This is the thallus body or thalloid body of male Markensia. They are the amphibian plant. All the members of bryophyte are the amphibians. Means a part of life, that is the gametophyte, although this gametophytic stage, the passage on the soil or rocky, shady area or the bank of river, but the sporophyte live on the gametophyte. But during the formation of a sporophyte, during the sexual reproduction of their body or the life cycle, they require water. That is why we say they are amphibian plant. Now, coming to the point of the thallus or the main body, which is a gametophyte. In case of Markensia, female Markensia and male Markensia, the main parent body, which is a thalloid structure, have during the mode of reproduction, asexual mode of reproduction, they produce the special cup-like structure called as gemma. This is called gemma. Gemma. And within this gemma cup, they produce asexually reproducing gemma. This is called gemma or gemi, plural. Gemi or singular, gemma. And by virtue of this, asexually they can produce the new Markensia. Or in their life cycle, by means of vegetative propagation also, they produce new thallus by means of fragmentation. Or in some cases, for example in mosses, by means of budding also, they produce new individual. But during sexual reproduction, the female and the male thallus produce a erect structure. What we call as, this structure is called as, in case of female, this is called archigoniophore. Archigoniophore. On the tip of archigoniophore bear the female reproductive structure, this one called archigonium. Archigonium. The archigonium is a flax-shaped structure which bear a single egg. This is the egg. This is the egg. during sexual reproduction, the thallus, a part of the thallus or thallic body become erect, forming a structure called archegoniophore, which bear the archegonium, the female reproductive organ. Within the archegonium, which is a cup-shaped structure or what you call as flask-shaped structure, a single egg produced. On the other hand, in case of male liverwort or example of liverwort, male mertensia, this diagram I have drawn, male mertensia. This is the female mertensia, female, and this is the male mertensia. Which bear antheridiophore. This is what we call, this structure we call antheridiophore. Antheridiophore, over which the male reproductive structure called antheridium. This is the antheridium, which is a disc-shaped structure, where female is a flask-shaped structure, male reproductive organ, antheridium is a disc-shaped structure. Antheridium. This antheridium, when gets matured, produce numerous, many in number, numerous male gamete called antherozoid. So these are the antherozoid. So let me rub this portion, moss and liverwort disclassification, so that we can get little space. So this is this liberated structure, what you call as male gamete, otherwise called antherozoid. Now when the egg is matured, it is released in the nearby water body where the thallus or the gametophytic body reside, or near the habitat. The habitat is a shady rock near moist area or moist soil or the bank of a river or a stream or even a certain lake area nearby the rocky places. So this egg is discharged in the water body. Formation of egg is purely not at all a reduction division. Try to remember. Generally, the male gamete and the female gamete is formed by means of meiotic division, that is a reductional division. But here, very important thing is that you have to keep it in your mind that this formation of egg is by the process of mitosis in case of bryophyte. Why? Because this body, parent body, thallus, which is a gametophytic stage having n number of nucleus. So, from the haploid thallus, when the egg is produced, it is also haploid, hence the process of cell division, that is mitotic division. So by means of mitosis, egg is produced. By means of mitosis, the antherozoid or male gamete is produced. Both are discharged in the nearby water body. And here, the antherozoid, which are having each antherozoid, if I draw it here, each antherozoid is a biflagellated structure. See, note here, if each antherozoid is a biflagellated structure having two flagella, with the help of this flagella, they swim over the water body and try to find where the egg is. And once they approach the egg, the process of fertilization takes place. So let me rub this portion a little so that I can show you this part. When the egg is fertilized by the antherozoid, then it forms a zygote. This is the zygote. Unicellular diploid body having 2n number of nucleus. The zygote will divide repeatedly to form, this zygote is unicellular, this forms this zygote immediately does not divide by meiosis. So it does not undergo meiosis. Zygote divide repeatedly by mitotic process to form a sporophytic body. So from the zygote we get the sporophytic stage. Sporophytic stage. And this sporophyte reside over these thallophyte for some time, and some of the cells of the sporophyte under favorable condition then undergo meiosis. So if I rub this part and try to show you, it is from this sporophyte, some of the cells of sporophyte will undergo what type of cell division? What type of cell division? Meiotic division or meiosis. By virtue of meiosis, from the sporophytic stage, spores are formed. Spores are formed. So, what should be the ploidy of this spore? This is haploid. So, haploid spores are formed and the spores germinate. So, this spore will germinate. Germination of spore. Germination. And after germination of spore, they will form again the thallophytic stage. In that way, the life cycle repeats. So this is, I have given you the example of the male and female thallophytes of one of the division member of the Bryophyta, that is liverwort, and this is the example of hornwort. This hornwort, the typical example I have given you, that is Anthodocerus, and here the hornwort is Antherocerus, the liverwort, these are the example of liverwort. This is Merkensia. Now we are coming to the mosses. That is the third division. So let me make some space for moss. best example, let me take one example of moss, that is funaria. Moss. Moss is example funaria. Let me draw the diagram so that the concept will be very clear. Funaria. Having a leaf-like structure, this leaf-like structure spirally arranging over the stem-like stalk, then over this is the thallophytic body, this is the thallophytic body, the thallus-like structure which are growing just like a creeper over the soil surface or the rock surface. Some of the thallophytic body just becoming erect to form this structure. So this is the thallophytic stage. Thallus-like structure, gametophytic stage. Gametophytic stage. And over which the sporophytic stage develops. Let me use some other color of chalk so that it will give you a very clear idea. This is the sporophytic body going over the gametophytic body. It is having a foot, seta, and capsule. Now, this is the example of moss. The individual member, funaria, another sphagnum is also there, which is also coming under moss. So the funaria, the main parent body, which is a gametophytic stage, having n number of nuclei. That means it is a haploid structure, which is generally growing in a creeping form over the soil or rocky surface, just having a leaf-like appendages, a small leaf-like structure, and during the period of reproduction, it become erect, having a root-like rhizoid. This is which is holding the rock surface, and over the root-like rhizoid, this is the rhizoid. It is having a stem-like stalk. Around the stem-like stalk, the spirally, the leaf-like appendages are developed. During sexual reproduction, just like the example we have given for Mercansia, the male structure, what we call as archegonium, female structure, archegonium grows over archegoniophore. The male structure, antheridium, grows over the antheridiophore, and they produce male gamete and female gamete, which release in the water body, where the male gamete, the antherozoid, fuses with the egg, and a diploid zygote is formed. This zygote, and after repeated division, give rise to a sporophytic stage. The sporophytic stage is not independently living, it is living over the gametophytic stage. Some of the part of the sporophytic stage, what is that part I shall come. So the sporophytic stage live over the gametophytic stage. Up to this is the gametophytic stage, over which the sporophytic stage live on, which is having a foot, seta and capsule. Within the capsule, some of the cells of the capsule divide meiotically to form spore, and under suitable condition this spore released in the nearby area and give rise, germinate to form the gametophytic stage again. So the gametophyte and sporophyte repeats in their life cycle, but the predominant stage of their life cycle is the gametophyte stage. Sporophyte is a part in their life cycle which lives as a obligate parasite. It is not parasite, it truly in sense, it is a part of its life cycle. Why? Because of we are talking about the obligate parasitic type of life cycle here. Why? Because of it is living over the gametophytic stage and drawing the nutrient from the gametophyte. And the spores are formed by the meiotic division. Once the spores gets matured, liberate, release in the surrounding area, germinate to form the gametophyte. So the example of moss is Funaria. This is I have given you the example of Funaria, the moss, and another you can say the sphagnum. It is also having the same way the life cycle. The sexual reproduction is very common in their life cycle. Asexual reproduction by means of budding or by means of fragmentation. So this is about a brief account of bryophytes, where we have classified it into three main divisions, that is hornwort, liverwort and mosses, and the life cycle being completed in gametophytic stage and sporophytic stage, where the predominant stage is the gametophytic stage. Sporophyte is a part in their life cycle, and this one depends on the other, repeats continuously. The parent body is a thallus-like, don't have the two vascular bundle, and they bear the spore only in the sporophytic stage. So this is all about the bryophytes. I hope you got a very clear idea about the three divisions of bryophyte. So with this, thank you for today. See you in next. Thank you.